Hi, my name's Phil Robinson. I work for Sport Gisborne Tyre Rafferty, and one of my responsibilities is to organise and manage the annual Sport Gisborne Tyre Rafferty Schools Gymnastics Festival. This year is the 43rd event. Fortunately, I've not been involved with all 43. This is only my fourth, but it is one of the biggest. We're running this year with almost 1,200 children from 30 schools, and that'll be over a 2-day period. Children have been practicing in their schools for about 8 weeks for some of them, a bit less for others, and over that period the C grade children, that's generally the youngest ones, they practice 4 different disciplines. They work on the floor, they learn a floor routine, they learn a box routine, they learn a bar routine, and they learn a beam. And that's for boys and girls. The C routine is the only one that the boys and girls do the same, because when they move on to B, then the boys do not do the beam. I think the girls enjoy doing the beam. The boys particularly seem to like doing the box. I think the bar is quite difficult for some of the boys because it demands quite a lot of upper body strength. And in order to do that, they need to have probably done quite a lot of playing around. Like, children don't seem to do that quite as much as they used to do, and so they've got to swing themselves up into an upward circle, and some of them do find that quite difficult. The floor routines are quite straightforward if they can do forward rolls, and then on the B grade, forward roll, backward roll, and cartwheel. But once they get into A grade, they start to develop their own routines. And then there's an A competitive grade, and they are children who generally are members of the gym club, and they compete in the Hawke's Bay regional tournaments as well. Gymnastics proves very useful to all of the children, because it enables them to access balance, it enables them to access movement skills, body control, and on that basis they can then develop quite a lot of confidence in their own ability, which then carries them through to later stages. We tend to find that some children get to the age of about sort of 10, and they're quite happily playing along and doing various different things, and then all of a sudden somebody will say, "You're not very good at running, are you?" or "You can't roll," or whatever, and they go, "No, I realise I can't," and they don't do it anymore. So we have to work, and the schools have to work on developing those skills at an earlier level, so that by the time they reach probably about 7, they've got the ability to run, to balance, to roll, in order that, as I say, they can access those main core sports later on. I think the numbers of people taking part in sport in schools is constant. I think that primary schools, it is overwhelmingly still very, very popular. I think the drop-off tends to come towards the end of intermediate and the transfer into secondary schools. And you'll notice with the numbers that we've got for tomorrow morning, we've got a reasonable number of intermediate students coming through, a very small pro rata number of secondary school students. And that, I think, if you look at it across the majority of the codes that are operating within the region, there is a large drop-off, and there are a number of reasons for that. I mean, one of the reasons is those kids need to get a job. They need to get a job in order to run a car, and they've got social lives, and also they tend to start specialising. Kids at this age they'll do all sports, whereas at the later stages they start saying, well, my sport is whatever it is, and then they don't bother participating in the other sports. And I mean, one of our I suppose targets is to get kids experiencing as many different sports as they possibly can, in order that they develop a number of skills, a wide range of skills, and then they are in a position to choose the one that they feel best suited for, or the one that they enjoy most doing at a later stage. You see kids come in here and go out with a big smile on their face, and they've done something in front of maybe 100, 200 other people that they never thought that they would ever do before. We had a couple of schools came in for the first time last year, and they said the kids got so much out of it. It was such a positive experience. They actually transferred that back to the classroom as well, and their whole self-esteem lifted.